talking a little bit about Peru, where Miss Tammy and I are from.
Bob, we have a problem.
We have a problem. You know, I can hear you now. Oh, that worked.
It's not so noisy.
Okay. Well, we've been talking about Peru, which is in South America. We looked at that yesterday. Today we're going to look about how do you get around in Peru. We know how we get around in Houston and in Texas, but Peru is a little different. We have crazy obstacles. It's a big country, and if you can look right there, that's a road, and that's a truck. Do trucks normally be like this? No, but when the road is dirty and just dirt and lots of water happens, can be what happens to a truck or a car or a bus. They can even go all the way under the mud sometimes. So it can be a problem just traveling around on the roads. You can also go in a nice big jet airplane like that. That's not a nice big jet airplane. You don't get into that airplane, you put it on. Okay, that's the kind of airplane where when you get in, they tell you, okay, you sit here, you sit there, let's balance this out, okay. And that airplane doesn't have a battery. They have to jump start it. And many times when you go to take off in the mountains, you have to come to the edge of the mountain and fall down. And then it gets enough speed for it to fly. Because it can't take off at the high mountains like Mount Kilimanjaro. The air is too thin for the airplane to take right off until you fall down the mountain. Would you like to take off in an airplane like that? No. Who wants to go with me and do that? Anybody? Oh, there's someone want to do that. Someday you can do that. Come to Peru and we can do that. Now, you can also go by buses. This is a really, really good bus. It's got, where's my little light here? There it is. It has 2 floors. The top floor, all the seats lay down like a bed. And you have a leg rest. And you have a TV screen in front of you. And you have about 20 movies you can choose from. Or you can listen to music. You can play games. And they have little curtains around your little seats. And it's got a pillow and a blanket. Now you're going to be on those buses for, a little bit of time. Miss Tammy, how long have we been on those buses sometimes?
Sometimes like 3 days in a row.
Yeah. So a nice bus like that is good. Even the first floor on this bus is pretty good. The seats recline like a nice reclining seat. But not all the buses are good. Some of the buses sometimes look like that. This is to show you what the bus looks like and also to show you what can happen to a bus. That's just some regular seats, 2 little tiny skinny seats, and they don't hardly recline. Now that bus, just the road kind of fell off the mountain, and the bus kind of fell off with the parts of the bus and everything. So sometimes buses are not so good, and that happens a lot. Actually, where we live, about once a week, that happens to a bus. So it's not.
Was on that bus.
I wasn't on that bus. No, I was not. I don't want to be on that bus. I'm glad I wasn't on that bus. Now in cities, they have buses too. They have all different kinds of buses, but a lot of them are this kind of small sort of bus, and they're kind of old. And boy, do they get a lot of people on those buses.
They don't have engines.
Yeah, they have engines. They also have buses that are just like a minivan. Have you ever been in a minivan? Ever been in a minivan? How many people do you think you can get into a minivan?
7.
How many
Yeah, come into VBS. 12. You know how many we get into a bus? A minivan coming to a weekly Bible club? We used to average 42. They you really get to know your neighbor really well when you get on a bus like that. So those little smaller buses that happen in the cities. And when you're in the bus, this is a city bus, and look here. You don't have this even in buses in the big cities here in the U.S. That guy's, what's he got in his hands?
A guitar.
Guitar. People will just get on the bus with guitars or accordions or panpipes or flutes, and they'll play money. And after they play, they'll play songs. And after they've played a song, they'll go down and ask for money. And that's what they do, trying to live, to get money for playing the songs on the buses. And sometimes these musicians are really pretty good. And sometimes these musicians are really pretty bad. But they still are trying to make some money by playing money on the buses. You'll notice that everybody here is not looking at the guy playing the music. You don't do that. Because if you look at him and he sees you, he says, I'm going to get money from that person for sure. And going to get a lot. So you don't look at the person. Even when he comes, you're going to give him money. You don't want to really look at him, because then if you give him one soul, he'll leave his hand handing out there. More. So you got to kind of be quick about that. Now there's the kind of minivan we're talking about. Now that is in Peru. It's called a combi. Combi. Can you say combi?
Combi.
Combi. Now this is also out in the country, like we are out here going out in the country. You put the luggage on top of the combi, and you jam the combi full of people, and on a little thing like that, I've been on a bus trip in one of those things for about 30 hours. Yeah, and it's really not real comfortable, and it doesn't feel real good. But if you're in the jungle, the Amazon rainforest, or if you're in the mountains, and you want to go from city to another city, you usually travel in a bus like that. It's only if you go from far away from the coast to farther away, you use the big good buses. This is the way you usually get around. When we're going to go teach in other cities, that's the kind of bus we're always on. We're traveling around those kind of buses. And that's how it looks when you're inside of them. So you sit like that on a long drive of maybe 24 hours, and that's how you sit. When you get out of the bus, I'm kind of like this. So everybody's kind of a little bent up over after that. Now that is a moto taxi. It has got a motorcycle with two back wheels and a front wheel, and they have a back seat where you can get, I've seen 8 kids in the back of one of those things. You can get 2 Americans or 8 kids in the back of those things. And they in the country cities outside of Lima, they use those a lot. Okay, we need to move on now to the drama time. So let's go back in and check in with Camp Kilimanjaro, guys.
All right.